Real football might be over, but the offseason, much like the city of New York, never sleeps. We got coaching changes, free agency, the combine, the draft, and tons more action to cover to get ready for the next NFL season. Who's going to be the next rising star? What new coach is going to have the greatest impact? What free agent is going to take your team from pretender to contender? Let us be the voice of the NFL news. As Coach Mike Dub, the real AG Alex Givens, young RG Robert Garcia, and yours truly, Coach Defense, break down everything from the NFL offseason right here on the NFL Offseason Blitz. Let's go. To all my heavy hitters and lockdown defenders, welcome to the NFL Offseason Blitz. I'm your host, Coach Defense, alongside the real AG Alex Givens. To the bottom of the screen is young RG Robert Garcia. We're going to get Coach Mike Dub in the building here soon. He's running a little bit late. He had a little work obligation to attend to, but he'll be in the building as well. His spot is live, direct, and ready to roll with another version, another rendition of the offseason blitz. We are breaking down anything and everything NFL offseason. Gentlemen, how y'all feeling? What's going on? How's your lives? How's your free agency bid? You know, is it a WTF moment? Is it a what are we doing? Is it what the hell is going on out here? Talk to me.
I'll let Robert go first on that one.
No, Alex, I'm gonna let you go first because I'm gonna unleash. So
yeah,
I'm gonna let you get it out.
Well, save some for the show, brother. But
right.
I'm feeling good, Coach. Man, excited to do our first live show. Right, our first live show.
Second.
Well, you know, now that we're in the meat and potatoes and stuff, you know.
Right.
But excited to get this thing going. Talk a little free agency. You know, my Chiefs haven't done too much, but I like some of the, most of the moves they've made so far. So,
all right. Young RG,
yeah.
Have at it, buddy. Have at it,
man. So I was under a completely different idea of how this free agency was going to go so far for the Chargers. I know we are very, very early into it, but man, after the season we had last year going 11-6, wild card berth, and you saw in that wild card game just how many holes our team had, I'm utterly shocked that we have not at least signed one, or didn't, because a lot of them are gone now. I'm shocked we didn't sign one of these big free agent names. Forget like position, because like I said, a lot of holes. So it really didn't matter which way we would have went with it. If we would have signed big at center or interior O-line, wide receiver, edge rusher, kind of getting Khalil Mack back. When you re-sign a player, I don't necessarily look at it as, yeah, it's a good thing you kept them around, but they were already there. So how much, and it's just another year on their career, especially for a guy like Mack, who, I love him, guy's great, but his age, you saw it last year specifically, is really catching up to him. You let Bosa walk. I thought when we made that move, I'm like, oh, here we go. We're going to just go all in. Ortiz finally has an offseason. We got 90 plus in cap mill. Like, here we go. Let's see what we do. And
big nothing burger.
Big nothing. You re-signed Mack and you signed Najee.
And Dante Jackson. To be fair, we signed Dante Jackson as well.
We signed 2 Chargers and brought in 2 former Steelers.
It's exactly
right.
So I will preface all of this with saying, obviously,
Sarah Tart can't.
Sure. We did get another re-signing. Right. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'll get into this with the whole thing. Letting Poona Ford walk. Oh. Man, Ortiz, you're on my ish list for that one, dog. Guy came in on a 1-year deal and proved that he deserved to stay here and deserved the money. And you basically said, why don't you go to the other locker room? we got a spot waiting
on the side of the stadium.
Yeah. Like, we got good news and bad news. The good news is you don't got to move.
It's like that money ball. Ortiz is like, hey, Jim, you can't play Poona. I'm going to play him. No, you can't. I just traded him to the Rams.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one thing to not splurge and, spend big money in free agency. It's another thing to have a ton of money and not spend it. It's a completely different thing to have a ton of money and not even bring back your own guys. The dudes that came over on 1-year deals, like, all right, prove to us why we should give you a bigger contract. They prove to you that they should get a bigger contract, and you're like, all right, later.
Thanks.
Like, yeah, exactly. This is why I'm always player first. Like, at the end of the day, I love my team. I love, obviously love football, but I am always pro player full through, because these franchises, man, they, at the end of the day, they're a business, and they will operate and deal you as simply product or merchandise. So, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I still got hope. There's still obviously a lot to root for this team, and yeah, we're gonna get into it.
Yeah, man. I share the same sentiments, man. Yeah, I did air my grievances on yesterday and today about exactly what I felt about what they did in each move, in regards to that. But I'm definitely was expecting more. And seeing the contract that some of the guys actually settled for. I want to say settled for what they accepted, and in regards to who they signed with, what Pointer Ford went for, what Javonte Williams went for, what what's my guy Eric Stokes just went for to the Raiders today. All those things happening, like there was well within our grasp, and we just didn't reach for it. So that's concerning. I think the fan base is divided on the Najee Harris signing. I'm a little less irritated by it based upon his contract makeup, and how they basically gave him an incentive-based contract up to $10 million, but it's very team friendly in a sense. It may seem like a prove it deal for him, to kind of figure out what he's going to do going forward.
They're just running it back on the prove it's.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what it is. I mean, because nobody got a long-term deal outside of Bradley Bozeman and Dante Jackson, but I'm like, okay,
2-year deals, and they're like minimums almost.
Exactly. So, and they can get out of them after the first year. So that's another thing. So they're doing a lot of I guess you say team friendly stuff that's going to basically benefit them if they want to cut bait. Which again, my point to what Robert was saying is that if you're gonna kind of string these guys along, what's the end game? So I mean, are you looking at it projecting what the free agent class is going to look like next year? What the draft is going to look like? I understand that Harbaugh is quote unquote the end all be all as far as what the college recruits look like or should look like, from the college rank, because he was just there a year ago. But I mean, at some point you gotta have some proven talent in the building. I'm just saying. I mean, we can't solve everything through college kids. I'm just sorry. I don't believe that's going to be a winning formula. You need a balance. You need a balance, a blend of professional veterans and proven guys that you want to develop. Because all the guys are not going to pan out. I mean, you could have a first round pick that's a bust and a 7th-round pick is a Hall of Famer. So, it's always a dice roll. But guys have been on the field and have done it and done it at a high level. Now, I would bank on the idea of bringing those guys in, at least in some capacity, especially in needed positions like interior O-line. Doing that. Seeing Drew Dahlman get signed for what he got signed for. Will Freeze. I mean, let's go on. I can go on all day about who we should have gotten, but
the Bears, man,
the Bears cleaned up. The Bears did exactly what I wanted the Chargers to do.
Like I said, though, the Bears have been on a dynastic type run the past 4 off seasons. They've been NFC North champs every off season the last 4 years.
I will say though, they fully
easy. Cut it out, man. Cut it out.
Come on, easy.
Cut it out, man.
You're giving us a bad name, dog.
Hey.
I'm gonna cut it out, man.
No, but
maybe Harbaugh wants his guy, dude.
The Bears,
you want me to see me jump ship? Trade Justin Herbert, okay?
No, dude. Honestly, I will straight up burn every jersey I own, man. I'm out. I'm out. No, seriously. If you trade Herbert, I'm out. I'm fully that is franchise that's worse than the Luka trade. And not quite literally, because I know Luka
favor. Right, not in our favor, right?
And not in our favor, yeah. We'd be the Dallas side of that. So nah, dude. My only preface to this whole, I wanted to say this too. My whole preface to this, us being super slow to come out this free agency or this free agent period, is unless we're making some kind of massive move behind the scenes. I'm talking I'm talking trading for Parsons. I'm talking about trading for Hendrickson. I'm talking like something of that magnitude to where
I'll
all your
even take Mark
attention,
Andrews or Dallas Goedert. I'll take one of those.
dude, like something. Like I saw we had Evan Ingram in the building. We brought him into the building after he visited the Broncos. I think it was like yesterday or something like that. So like something like that to where, okay, at least we can come out of it and be like, all right, your attention was focused on this. And if it's something like Mike, like, Hendrickson or Parsons,
plan.
Like I'm like, you know what? Hey, I will eat my crow, Ortiz. I'm sorry. I will never doubt you again. Yeah, we are not worthy. Chef Ortiz is back on. Like, that is the only way I see. Because like now, like people can say, like, yeah, we can still sign guys and stuff like that, but now that you've waited and the first wave of free agency is over, the price is set. Now it's like you're going to be paying, $1.30, $1.50, cents on the, or 100, 150 cents on the dollar. And for those tier 2 guys, like it just doesn't make sense to me. Like I feel like no matter what. But yeah, and then how much is he gonna fetch? Coming off the Super Bowl, you saw what Sweat got, you saw what Milton Williams got, like all these people.
Zeitler's still out there, dude.
Yeah,
Fun fact: Kevin Zeitler's like my third or fourth cousin.
Oh wow!
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh wow! Okay,
that is kind of cool, actually.
I met him at a funeral. It was like my dad's uncle's funeral. And I'm going there, like in college, not to get off topic, but I'm like thinking like, oh, I'm going to get to boast around like I'm a college football player. And I meet this fool who just got done playing at Wisconsin. He's 6'5", like just a unit. He's like, I'm like, oh, like, what are you going to do now? And like an idiot, thinking like, well, he's done. And he's like, well, I've got the combine. And I was like, oh shit. Yeah, he's like, where do you play again? I'm like, it doesn't matter. Don't worry. Yeah. Did I say I played? I meant Madden. Sorry.
That's funny. But we see him again. Tell me what some tickets. But outside,
that's what I'm waiting for.
Hey, he was a first round. He was a first round pick, man. Dude, that dude wasn't.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Crazy. Blocked for Monty Ball, dude. Like the most prolific touchdown scorer in college football history. Maybe not prolific, but
he's up there.
He scored the most.
Yeah. Alan, these are like this. Right.
Dude, that was the most shattering moment for me.
Yeah, but it's I use the analogy. I always love the club analogy. You walk in, it's 10 dimes standing on the wall, nobody's dancing. You looking at them, and you watch every dude walk up to them, pick them off all up the wall, and they dance with them all night, getting their numbers, taking them home, and then you waiting this 1 o'clock in the morning at the club closes at 2. There's nothing but 6s on the wall, and you're like, all right, well, I still got money in my pocket.
Come on, big girl.
Hey, we doing this. You got beer goggles on, man.
You're like in the corner. Like, we doing this or what?
If you squint hard enough, a 6 turns into an 8.
You just get your mind like, I'm leaving here with something. Just like, I'm leaving here with something.
I ain't going home empty-handed.
Right, exactly. So it's 6, like you said, it's 6 turns into 8 real quick. We get late, but that's where we're at right now. You all the 10s are gone, the 8s are gone. Now you're down to 7s.
Hey man, the 6s might be gone quick soon too.
And so it's just a matter of what we're going to do. I mean, it's nice to have money, but I mean, you just not going to sit on and not spend it. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean,
hey, there's something to be said though with the patience and smart execution too.
Yeah,
we've seen the Chargers and other teams go spend crazy in an off-season free agency period, and it's not worked out. So I mean, it wasn't that long ago that every AFC West team spent a fortune in the off-season, and it was supposed to be a bloodbath for the title, and
it wasn't.
Here we are.
And the Chiefs went 14-3.
They
won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. They won a Super Bowl. They got rid of their prolific, pass catcher and won. But hey,
crazy.
So
man,
I don't know. I mean, I think it's a testament, like that you have the right people in place. They have a set ideology for the culture they want. They've spent their year to assess what they had in the building. I think are finally doing the last like chopping block of, the guys that just don't make sense to have around. And, you know, I think one more off season, like next off season, I think's the real aggressive one for the Chargers.
Yeah, that's funny. It's funny you said that because I did a video on this network actually about how the rebuild might take another year. Might be a 2-year rebuild instead of a one.
That's fine.
But yeah, that might be the case. It really might be the case. I mean, again, if they are, you know, what we criticize a lot of GMs and front office for having bad decision making. Excuse me. I think that if the Chargers have, you know, they show the propensity to have good decision making in the next couple of years, then we can all sit back and say we're just being strategic rather than being reactionary. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. But hopefully things will fill out with the roster and we're not just banking on the draft being money again this year, because we had a good draft last year, but you can't win all just by drafting. Can't win them all but just by drafting. So we'll see how things go. But yes, we're getting into the show itself and talking about the free agency as a whole. And we're going to talk about first and foremost about the free agency period and what's brought us, you know, to our I guess you can say, you know, full stop and shock about what happened in the free agency period. We be via trade, via move, signing, amount of money. So we're going to discuss first and foremost what the particular free agency moment or moments shocked us the most. Like, we didn't really see that coming. Like, you know, we had an inkling about some things. We previewed it through our videos and things of that nature. But for us in the totality, what really had us like, I can't believe that happened. So starting off with Robert, tell me, what's your moment or moments that shocked you the most when it came to free agency as a whole in the NFL this particular period?
Man, it had to be the Geno Smith trade. I mean, that just kind of came from out of nowhere. Yeah, like way out of left field. There was, I mean, you know, no inkling of it. Like, not similar to the Luka trade and the magnitude of it, but similar in terms of there was just zero rumblings of it. You'd ever heard anything about the Seahawks wanting to trade Geno. And then, you know, the quick turnaround to signing Sam to that massive extension. Like, we all came on here, I'm pretty sure last time, and said, you know, if there's anywhere, if I'm Sam, if there's anywhere I want to sign, it's back with Minnesota. You know, like what better position for, or, you know, what better place for me to be than, you know, one of the best wide receivers in the league, defense, and a defensive coordinator that knows what he's doing and was one of the top units last year. Great O-line, great running game. Like, you know, there was just, you know, so much right there. And but, you know, he got money, he got paid, and, you know, up until this point, this was his only opportunity. Like, you know, unless he balls out with the Seahawks these next 3 years and gets another contract after that, which, you know, given the fact that they just traded DK and, you know, it seems like they're just fire selling at this point, and entering complete rebuild, I don't like his chances there. It seems like they made this move full with the intention of he's just going to be our, you know, transition bridge QB,
cheaper stopgap.
Yeah, cheaper stopgap, exactly. And we're probably given the fact that we're kind of gutting this roster, we'll probably be picking within the top 10-ish, you know, in the coming years. And also given the state their division is in, although Niners, we'll talk about them in a minute too. They want to talk about gutting a team. they're just full on emptying out their team. But yeah, definitely that Geno trade. That was a shocker. It just didn't make sense to me given the division he got traded to. Like he, you know, I don't want to say he's automatically the worst QB in this division, but
it's him and Bo Nix though.
It's him or Bo Nix, and Bo Nix just coming off. He's 1 for 1 essentially with playoff appearances so you know, like. Yeah. Like and that team that offense was not great.
Of the year.
Yeah, and he was rookie of the year, exactly.
Almost,
so, yeah. Well, yeah. Probably should have been if it wasn't for Jaden and just absolutely taken off with the Commanders.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, so it's just rough. I feel for Geno. I feel like he's just not in a position to succeed. I thought he showed some greatness. Well, not greatness, but showed some sustainability there with the Seahawks and, you know, that receiving core and that team. So we'll see what happens, but I personally didn't like this move a lot for the Raiders.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that is I don't want to call it a Pete Carroll-esque move, like, you know, because he fall in love with people, we fall in love with him, and he just rides with them. Breaking news, by the way, Joey Bosa just signed with the Bills.
Yep. I just saw that. that happened while we were
And
loading into
they
this.
just traded Von Miller and his injury riddled issues with Joey Bosa and his. So hey,
Pretty much. Pretty much. So hey,
just a little younger version of Von
luck.
Miller. Hey,
good luck.
yeah, I saw Kenneth Gainwell signed with someone too.
Oh, did he?
Steelers. Not that really. That's not a Bosa level report.
Yeah,
but
they
that
just
also
lost
dropped.
Najee.
But yeah, no, I feel I'm kind of with you, Robert. It was definitely a jarring move, and one that I don't think really makes a whole lot of sense for either side. Like I mean, I obviously get Seattle likely rebuilding, probably didn't want to have to pay him again, and be in the same boat. But like, yeah, for the Raiders, I mean, being on the other shows and talking to Raiders fans, it's like none of them thought that they were a quarterback away from being, the top of the
Contender,
AFC
yeah.
West. And, all of them seem to be pretty on board with taking a rookie QB or trying to rebuild that way. And then they go and just get Geno, which is like, I mean, he's definitely hell of a story to work his way into, eventually getting the bag, and has honestly been a pretty productive receiver. But at the same time, he had, Lockett, he had Kenneth Walker, he had DK Metcalf, he had Smith and Jigba.
Yeah.
Like, he had weapons around him. He doesn't really have all that in Vegas right now.
He has
And
Bowers.
honestly, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, so he has Bowers and I guess Jacoby Myers, but it gave me kind of like similar vibes to when McDaniels came in and just started bringing in all these old Patriot players. Like, is that what is Carroll going to just turn this into the Las Vegas, Seahawks?
Yep.
What's left of what he can,
Right.
and we saw how that went with McDaniels. Is it going to be a little bit of the same? Song and dance, this go around. And on top of that, I also was wondering, just like, whose move was this? Was this Spytek and Brady? Was this Pete Carroll lobbying for his guy? Like, I mean, what was it? Like, what got to that point?
That's a good one. I mean, I think that it could be a play for if they're buying the hype that Shador's falling in the draft and they can get him at 6.
Yeah,
and,
I mean,
or maybe they're banking on Jackson Dart being available in the second round. Maybe they want to develop him. Allow Geno to start immediately and let Jackson sit and give him a year or two to learn and get acclimated to the NFL game, and then he can be the starter there going forward. And they can load up on weapons in the first 3 rounds of the draft because they got high picks. So
yeah,
I think between those 3 scenarios, you could honestly maybe get right in the sense that all works out for you. I kind of comp Jackson Dart's arc to maybe what Bo Nix might be was for the Broncos. I mean, assuming he has Chip Kelly, calling plays for him, so you got that going for you if you're Jackson Dart. I'm not going to sell. I'm not going to wave the flag and say he's going to turn Geno Smith into a Pro Bowler, but I think that if he works with Jackson Dart from start to finish, then I think he will be able to get the best out of him offensively.
And I think you would hope too that Geno Smith would be kind of more like your Alex Smith type veteran QB, like a guy that's certainly been around, certainly been in moments where he knew with absolute certainty, unless every QB like died that day, that he wasn't playing, and kind of teach a younger guy the ins and outs of absorbing all that stuff when you're not playing, and be an asset to develop a younger QB. I think he definitely checks all those boxes. I mean, outside looking in, like I don't know Geno Smith. Obviously, it'd be cool if I did. But
I mean, I think you kind of glean what kind of a person he is. I mean, if you're not just a general, a-hole, in his own right, like Aaron Rodgers is not going to teach nobody how to be a
hell no. That's why he's still available.
Exactly. But Geno Smith would be the type of guy that would. I think much to Alex Smith's point. So I think that his character tells me that he would ultimately be a mentor. He won't give you the Ryan Tannehill say, I'm not here to mentor people when they drafted his replacement, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. So I think that if they do get Geno in the fold and make him the starter for now, they're going to try to get his replacement in at some point. Be it that Jackson Dart or Quinn Ewers, somebody like that they might feel comfortable with developing. See if it works out for them. Because I think that if they just play Pete Carroll type ball, they're never going to be picking high. If we're going to be honest about it,
worst case,
top 5 to get a Arch Manning or generational quarterback. So and then clearly the price of getting up into the draft to get somebody like that is way too high for people's blood these days. Right. So I think that they will likely be the ones that will try to do a developmental type of move and pivot versus trying to find their, quote unquote, Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is with Gino, like you said, yeah, he definitely has that kind of that personality. Very humble. Went through a lot of adversity.
A lot of
First,
shit.
yeah. For lack of better judgment, went through a lot of ish coming into this league. And like you said, the comeback, the bounce back he had, and ultimately to get paid in Seattle. You can't help but root for the guy, and I can't imagine he would not be the same thing to, like you said, a new incoming quarterback. My thing is, though, if Shedeur doesn't fall to the Raiders at 6, we were just talking about you're playing Pete Carroll football. You're really not going to. This will probably be similar to when we got Harbaugh, us picking at 5. That's probably the highest you're going to be picking in this era with your new head coach. So if you don't get your quarterback.
That's why we mentioned Jackson Dart.
Yeah, I've seen mocks where Jackson Dart's going in the first round. I'm like, if this is another situation, like we're looking at last year, it was a QB heavy draft. The Raiders were at what, 12, 11, and a quarterback couldn't fall to them then. And then there were 5 in the first round. Yeah. This year, there's really only 2-ish,
maybe 3,
maybe 3 that got first round grades. And even if you take the third one, which is Jackson Dart at 6, people are going to look at you like,
what are we doing?
Yeah, what the hell are we doing?
Right.
So I will say, though, lately it seemed more and more teams are less reluctant to spend a first-round pick on a QB, whether it's one that's plays for him now or in the future. I've seen more and more of that every draft of like, hey, we're taking this guy. He's not playing, but we got him for the future. So
yeah, you want that 5th year option because they got to get drafted in the first round to get that 5th year option. So
yeah,
that's mainly why they do it. And it's a possibility since they pick so high in the second round. If Jackson Dart drops a late first, they could trade back into the first.
Trade back in,
and because they got a lot of picks, they got a lot of picks in this draft, so they could trade back into the first and get him late first, and maybe pull that off. But yeah. Overall, I think that might be a move for them, and that will help Pete Carroll keep his job because if he wrote Geno Smith for the foreseeable future, that's such a plan. He's going to be on a short leash.
Yeah.
But moving on, Alex, tell me what was your most shocking moment of free agency? How did you feel about the period so far?
Yeah, well, I got a few, but I won't list all of them just so I don't step on any toes.
Give me a hottest take.
Yeah, I got one hot. Shocking trade and one shocking signing. I'll do both in a very efficient, quick manner. My most shocking trade would have to be Tunsil to the Commanders. And not from the sense of, I totally understand Washington making that move, get protection for your QB, especially on a rookie deal. But the shocking components are, one, I didn't even know he was freaking available. So there was similar to Geno. There was absolutely no rumblings that like, hey, Laramie Tunsil's out here and can be had for the right price. Didn't hear any of that. And then 2, from Houston's perspective, what the hell are you doing? Because I certainly thought, I think for CJ Stroud to take that next step in year 3, he needs less consistency and stability on his line so that he has to use his athletic traits. I mean, it makes sense. But I guess you kind of get why they get rid of him. Yeah. He's cost a lot. He was the most penalized left tackle in football last year, and they didn't get to the mountaintop with him. But it just didn't make any sense from Houston's perspective why they still have their QB on a rookie deal to do that. On top of not really. I don't know what they're going to do to replace him. So,
yeah,
that's shocking. That was the most shocking trade to me.
Yeah, that Tunsil trade, and what baffles me about the Tunsil trade is that how Washington finessed the idea of not having to give up a high pick this draft. The high pick is the next draft.
No.
Their top picks in this draft,
they hit him with that Jedi wave.
Right, exactly. These are not the draft picks you're looking for.
You need 2026 picks. Right. I don't need 2025. Yeah.
Move along. Yeah.
It's the same Jedi mind trick that got put on the Mavericks when they traded Luka.
That's right.
Luka Doncic is not a great player.
Right. He's out of shape.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I mean, I guess you don't know what component of that was Tunsil just being a pain in the ass or requesting a trade, and not what's not out there, because I got to think there was some of that for just how abrupt it was, and like there wasn't any rumblings from any of these insiders that like he might be on the move. But yeah, I mean, shocking nonetheless. Let's put it that way.
I mean, they gutted their whole line. I mean, they cut Shaq Mason.
They traded Green,
and they traded Tunsil. So wow, just wow.
If I'm CJ Stroud, I'm walking into that building like, what
with
the
all
actual
the? I mean,
are we doing?
I guess unless they're planning to go sign Cam Robinson right now to like the next big deal, I don't know what they're doing to replace him.
Who was the tackle that got signed by from the Steelers? Daryl Moore?
Yeah.
Darren
and
Moore?
I'm glad you said that, Robert.
Because that's your shocking signing.
That's my most shocking free agency signing of Dan Moore to the Titans. It's shocking because he wasn't really 50 million guaranteed, 4-year $82 million, 50 guaranteed. When they just spent a top 10 pick on a left tackle last year, and now they're like, well, we're making this move so we can move Latham to right, his natural position. Great. But you paid $50 million to a guy who wasn't even the starting left tackle for the Steelers at the start of last season, and injured himself into the starting lineup, and then you give him $50 million guaranteed dollars. Like what the hell?
Yeah,
this is what we talk about with free agency, man. It's not about how good you are; it's about being free. And teams will overpay simply because of positional need. So,
like, that's the money I would have thought Cam Robinson would get, not the.
I'm not even sure I would have gave Cam Robinson that based upon
I know
Minnesota last year.
That's what I'm saying.
Jacksonville to Minnesota, he still didn't play that well. So yeah, I'm not sure I would have gave him that money either.
I would have given that money to like Will Fries.
I would have thought Dan Moore would have gotten a deal similar to what the Chiefs signed their tackle for. The like little, I don't even know what it was, 2-year.
Oh, you talking about Jalen Moore?
Yeah, Jalen Moore, 2-year, $30 million with 21 guaranteed, like something like that. Like not this long-term investment, but I mean they over doubled the amount of guaranteed money for that guy. Like.
That's insane.
That's why they're the Titans.
That's the point. That's a good point. And then pray for Cam Ward if he gets drafted there.
Oh man, dude.
Pray for Cam Ward if he gets drafted there. That's all I can really say. I mean,
it might work.
I just thought about that. Because
they've spent a lot of draft picks on O-line. Like they got Latham, who is a beast. They got Skronsky, or however you say his name, the left guard. They took him. I mean, that's.
So at least he'll be protected throwing absolutely
and Traylon Burks.
That's right.
Who was supposed to replace AJ Brown. He's still there.
Right, and that's about it.
Jesus Christ.
They got rid of Harold Landry. So he's gone. Yeah. It's interesting. And I guess
division is a train wreck.
They got Tony Pollard. There you go.
Oh yeah, that's right. That division is a train wreck, man.
Yeah, to say the least. I mean, that's being nice, I think.
God, why couldn't the Chargers be located in the South somehow?
Dude, on top of
that
it,
division.
I don't think it says something that both my shocking trade and shocking signing were both having to deal with AFC South teams.
Is that the dysfunctional division of the AFC?
Oh, it has to be. Yeah. I mean, it's both South divisions. Right, like they're both just the South is
down in that water down south.
Yeah,
getting that Gulf water.
Man, it's rough.
Yeah, that's brutal. That is brutal. Yeah, I'm not sure what the Texans are doing. If they don't draft linemen in the first 3 rounds, I don't know what we're doing. They double down on the Cassati by getting Laken Tomlinson in response to losing their old lineman. So, you mean you're going to lose Green, you're going to lose Tunsil, you're going to lose Mason, but you go get Laken Tomlinson, who's 35 years old. I don't know what they're doing.
Hell yeah.
I can't tell you.
Hell yeah, brother.
So,
man. Yeah,
it's brutal out there in Houston. I feel for CJ Stroud again. And I don't get the idea of the fascination. This goes to the Chargers, lack of response to the O-line as well. Like, why are you not, protecting your quarterback? You seeing what the Bears are doing with Caleb Williams. You seeing what the Lions are doing with Jared Goff. You see what the Eagles have done for Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
Seeing what the Chiefs continue to do, shuffling their O-line to protect Patrick Mahomes.
And you've seen what's happened to them when they don't have protection.
Exactly. Exactly. So why are you not making it your priority and your most highest need of things to do with regards to what to protect your quarterback first and foremost? Vikings as well. Exactly. Vikings as well. I almost forgot about them. Exactly.
This is why it's so frustrating being a Chargers fan, man, because this is literally Phil Rivers all over again. Great QB, got him when he was young. I'm
gonna do one better than that. It's Andrew Luck.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's 100%. Yeah, I mean, it's like you've seen Herbert with nothing. You've seen Herbert will this team to relevancy.
Right.
You've seen like just the nature of what he's able to do, and if you just give him a little help, and it's so frustrating because every year we've had Herbert, it's one thing or the other. He either has a great offense and the defense is just tragic and can't sustain a lead to save their lives, or the defense is great and the offense is so abysmal. The line is terrible. Yeah, we have two great tackles, but the interior O-line is god awful. Was one of the worst in the league. Yes. Wide receiver outside of Ladd McConkey is abysmal. Tight end is abysmal. Your tight end one is a blocking tight end who you brought over to block mainly.
Tight end 1, 2, 3, and 4 all blocking tight ends.
Dude, seriously, give this guy, I would just love, and it's so infuriating because I have to hop on Twitter and just see people be like, Herbert is not that guy. Herbert is trash. You saw him throw 4 picks in the playoff game. And yes, I'm not going to come out here and be like, yeah, Herbert, those aren't to blame. He had a terrible game. Don't get me wrong. I am not going to be on here trying to defend Herbert for that game. But if you seriously sit back and watch that game and see how little time he actually had to do anything, it's no question why that performance was so awful. I just wish I could see him with the Eagles front office. What Howie does for Jalen Hurts. Oh my God, man. I'm gonna go off that tangent. I'm gonna stop myself.
Yeah, save a little bit. We got a little bit more show to do. But yes, I agree with you. It's definitely, you're doing them a disservice. It's Cam Newton, Phillip Rivers, and Andrew Luck all wrapped in one. When you have a superstar or cerebral quarterback at your disposal, and as sooner or later the wheels are going to fall off, he's going to get beat up, he's going to get battered and bruised, and he's not going to be able to be Superman anymore for you. And then what you're going to have? He's either going to retire or be a shell of himself, and he's not going to be the guy that you need him to be when it's time comes, when you actually finally figure it out and get to the point where your line is good and you can protect him, right? So they got to fix that fast. I don't know how they're going to do it and when they're going to do it, but it needs to happen. Now, for me, the most shocking thing for me, outside of what the Chargers haven't done in free agency, is the rebuilding of the 49ers. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
It's a complete, they turn it down to the studs and nobody's even blinking. What is happening? The Rams are ascending. They didn't mess around and got Devontae Adams. They still shopping Cooper Kupp. They got a ton of draft capital. They got a ton of money to spend. They all young. The defensive line is ridiculously talented. And they're probably the creme of the creme in the class of the division now. And now all of a sudden the 49ers are rebuilding. You didn't let Leonard Floyd go. You didn't let
all your
go. You didn't let Greenlaw walk.
Yeah.
Let Ufunga go. You let Chardavius Ward walk. You're talking
all your locker room guys, all your vets.
You got traded, yeah.
You got Brock and Ayuk and McCaffrey.
Pretty much it.
You know what it is with the Niners though? I hate
to happen at some point.
Exactly. Well, yeah, it was obviously bound to happen because it's just that continued success and just not being able to get over that hump and to be on the doorstep of it. I mean, the door is absolutely slammed shut. Whatever Super Bowl window the Niners were in, it is over now. We are so far removed from that. The reason why they were able to continue to have sustained success was their ability to mask their QB. Jimmy Garoppolo was not a good QB at all. I don't want anybody to come on here and be like, but he had I can name a million guys that had 1 or 2 great games.
I would argue he's a decent game manager. He wasn't an elite quarterback. He was a decent game manager.
He was good at not throwing picks. But then that would still,
I
was going to say, that would even still rear its ugly head because in the postseason, that's when he would throw his picks. He'd get through the regular season fine.
Time throw. I mean,
exactly.
In the Super Bowl, they could have
5 yards short
if he just hit. I don't even remember who it was, but it was wide open on a deep
It was Debo.
post.
It was Debo.
Was it?
Yeah, it was Debo. Yep, wide open, but yeah, like you said, and that's the thing though, is like they've never had they've just done a great job. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey is amazing, and then you like
that's funny.
DZ on one today.
It really is.
But like it was just like they were able to do so many things well that they didn't ask their QB to do anything. They're like, hey, just don't blow it. Like we're more than likely going to get you a 10, 13 point lead. Don't blow it. Like we got a beautiful, nice Ferrari here. Don't crash it. You know, keep it speed limit. You know, and we'll coast you there. But like you said, you can only do that for so long until you get to the biggest stage of the game where you need that guy to drive, and you know they can't do it.
It's like here's all the answers to the test. Don't get caught.
Right.
Oh. Big game. I got caught.
Jimmy G.
I did not see that. I did not see this stripping down. I definitely could see like letting some of these free agents walk, moving on from Debo, because that was talked about. I mean, in the last couple off seasons, but the stripping down to the studs, if you will. Yeah, I'm with you, Coach. I did not see that coming
at all.
One bit
at all.
And
so,
they got to pay Purdy now.
Nobody mentioned my other 2 shockers, so maybe I have to toss them out.
Well, but there's a lot of shocking.
Yeah, I think another shocking one could be almost a 1B to Tunsil is the DK to Pittsburgh move, and it's only shocking from the sense of like Pittsburgh, what the hell are you doing? Getting basically the same guy that you had at George Pickens and paying him,
right.
And then on top, and then DK, I thought you wanted out to be with a contender / good QB, and you went to a place that has no QB.
How about that?
Like we said in our chat, I mean, money definitely talks, and that is the root of every player wanting out. Was I want more money, but like
Myles Garrett.
Damn, yeah, but like,
sorry, my bad.
Yeah,
damn, like I just don't get. I mean, I get like wanting to make a move for someone like that if you're Pittsburgh, but I don't get the move for DK as the player, nor do I really get the move for how that fits into what Pittsburgh wants to do, knowing they have George Pickens there. And I see this being more of an issue than.
So I got a question. So what's the over or how many flags these fools get per game?
Oh, dude.
The Twitter memes have been going crazy, dude. I saw one. It's like the guy like attacking. It's like Arthur Smith when he calls a halfback dive, and it's like and I'm like, dude,
like beating the shit out of the DBs.
Is that an old Necessary Roughness clip?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. He's honestly, like a Batman guy beating it, but it's too good.
Honestly, like I truly think the reason why he went to Pittsburgh was Seattle basically wanting, because the rumors were they wanted a first and a third.
Yeah,
and everybody was like, no, that's not happening.
You're on crack.
Yeah, like you're smoking. So why don't you bring that down? And then it was like, all right, we just want a second. And then that's when, like, because the rumors the whole weekend were DK's going to LA. Like, this is basically all but a thing. Like, his old wide receivers coach is there. Like, he wants to go to a contending team with a good QB in a warm weather state. Right. And it's like, oh, this is like, come on, you're almost all but like but just announce it, Ian. Like, come on, we're just waiting for the tweet at this point. And then you see him. I truly think Seattle, like, because I think we didn't want to move up from a third. All the reports were we offering a third, and we didn't want
and $150 million. No,
yeah, exactly. So I got no problem with us not going after DK because of just the price they were offering. I truly think they were just like, hey, league, DK is available for a second. Who wants him? Pittsburgh's like,
we'll take him.
Yeah, we'll make that deal.
Who's gonna throw to him? I don't know.
Troublemaking wide receiver who needs to get paid a ton of money. Sign us right up. I mean, that's right up our alley.
Right.
So I mean, it makes sense in that regard, the type of player he is going to Pittsburgh. But like you said, it just makes no sense at all given what he wanted, and he got none of it. Not a good QB.
What he wanted.
Well, right. Well, yeah.
Pickers wear the same number.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, 14.
That's the other Betty. That's the other part. It's like they're gonna have a pay-per-view fight for who gets 14. You know, it's gonna be with Jake Paul. It's gonna be an undercard of Jake Paul's fight. DK and Pickens for number 14.
Oh man,
that is funny.
All summer, it's just gonna be them talking trash.
Right.
Man, sucks. I'm gonna get that number.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, funny. I got a quick little question side thing for you. Okay. Do you think the reason why Devontae didn't want to come to LA was because he wasn't going to be able to wear number 17?
But then
do you think that was a deal breaker?
Puka wears 17.
Right. He just changed his number to 12.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
I thought I saw a video of him saying he wouldn't do it.
He did. He said that, and then he turned around and said 12 because he was 12 in college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
so because obviously we know who 17 is for us. So do you really do you think that
I don't think it got to that. I don't think it got that deep. I think it got. I think it got to the point where he had animosity with the social media team about the whole
part thing,
and the fans trolling him constantly about it to the point where he actually got on Twitter and answered the people and started talking trash back to them. So he how the fan base treated him. On the top of the fact that he knows the Harbaugh regime is a run first team, so he felt like he wasn't going to get the amount of targets that he wanted to get, the amount of quote unquote attention that he wanted. So he felt like going to McVay was probably the better option. So I think that's really where it landed for him.
That's fair. Yeah, that's understandable. Guess I'm reading into the semantics of it, but I when I saw that Puka was changing his jersey number, I was like, wow, like 17 must be like a really big deal for Adams. I was like, a little spark. I wonder if that's something that would we never even have had a chance to begin with. But you're right, the social media team, yeah, he was very, very salty about that.
Exactly, and I think he's very Kevin Durant like for me. He's very sensitive.
Yeah.
So I think that got to him. He never got over it, and I don't think they were going to be fences enough for him to be able to be in the Charger uniform. So I think that's where it stopped at. Yeah. Okay.
Who wears number 17 for the Chargers? Now I'm like racking my brain.
Well, nobody wears it now, but yeah, it's
gotcha.
A unofficially retired number.
I got. I'm sitting here like, who is important that wears 17? Right. I don't know.
Right. Okay.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump into our next topic here. Let's talk about free agency itself. Who's signed, who's left. Now, I will say this: it's a fast-moving business, so we don't have the up-to-the-minute stats, but we can kind of freestyle it and then let you know who is there and who's not. But in talking about who's signed, they're color coding who's. Shout out to Greg Rosenthal for doing this for the fans. But who's signed, who has who's still available and things of that nature. Some guys still out there. Some guys have been checked off today, but there's still some names out here. So how do you guys feel about the top 100 guys where they signed at, and maybe fill in the blanks of who these guys haven't signed yet, where they might go? I guess I'll let Robert take the first slide, and Alex, you do the second, and I'll do the third.
For sure. Yeah. So for this first one, there's actually, I'm almost 100% sure. There's two guys on this first big board here that haven't signed yet: Amari Cooper and Asante Samuel Jr. Javon Holland went to the Giants.
Yep.
Fries went to the Vikings. Reed went to
New
Orleans. Thank you, New Orleans. Yes, sir. Byron Murphy's back with the Vikes. Mm-hmm. And I think that about rounds out that. So yeah, Amari Cooper, Asante Samuel, last guys to get signed here. But I think the big one, obviously, Milton Williams going to New England, getting the absolute bag. Everybody expected it. I think I saw a stat that New England spent like $200 million on the first day in free agency, which is insane.
They had some money.
They had some money to spend, and they were not afraid to spend it. So as you can see, they're signing two of the top 10 guys on this free agent big board here. Obviously, Sam Darnold going over to Seattle. We already talked about that a little bit. Josh Sweat, another former Eagle, going to Arizona, got the bag there. I think that's a great move for them, to be honest. I don't know really how how much it's going to do for them, how much it's going to move the needle. I just think I'm not a big believer in
I'll
Kyler.
give you a little bit of insider information in that regard because they got BJ Ojolari from last year who was hurt all season last year. I think he had a knee injury the very first week, so he hadn't played yet. So he's going to be fresh and available. So they're going to pair him up on each side. So they got a little bit of a tandem like a Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter type of guy going there now with that particular edge. So they've not only got one edge rusher, they got two now. So I think that's going to help their pass rush for sure.
Yeah, their defense wasn't the issue last year. It was their offense that was holding them back. So that's why I feel like that's why it's not going to move the needle so much. I love the signing. Don't get me wrong. I wanted us to go get Sweat. I was counting for it all off season. I was like, oh, it just makes so much sense. It's cap casualty. Chargers got a lot of money. It's a position of need. We cut Bosa. I was like, there's just so many things lining up for it. But gets a great contract there. A lot of guys, a lot of re-signings, I would say, this free agent period. A lot of guys, a lot of teams not letting guys walk. Yeah. A lot of people taking good money to stay home. Going down to the two, it's very interesting to see where Amari Cooper is going to sign. Obviously, linked to the Chargers, linked to a couple of these other teams. I think going after him would be a good get for us. Low risk, kind of low value, high reward. High upside. High potential reward. Somebody who could play outside, has played with a lot of great QBs in his career, great route runner. You can create separation, which is what the biggest need we needed at wide receiver was last year. So I think him with the Chargers would be a good fit. And I think Asante Samuel, I've seen a lot of reports him having a big market. So I really don't see him re-signing with us, especially getting Dante Jackson. I feel like we're just kind of moving away from the corner position, going to be moving more so towards Tarheeb and Cam Hart. So I would see him honestly going somewhere like joining the Bills, going with Bosa, going over to Buffalo. I would see him going to a fringe contender potentially. He either can go to a fringe contender for a bigger bag or go to a legit contender for a bit of a smaller bag. So I'm very interested to see where he signs for sure.
Okay. Anybody in 26 through 50 that you want to address before we move on with Alex?
Yeah, a lot of names here that still haven't signed yet. Obviously, I mentioned Evan Ingram there. He's met with the Chargers today. Kevin Zeitler is still available. Another great pairing potentially for the Chargers. You talked about Cam Robinson, Alex. He's still available there. Stephon Diggs, another one. I love Tevin Jenkins. I think he's still one of the best guards. Probably the best guard available of this free agent class. Started all 17 games last year for the Bears. So if you're looking for a little bit of continuity, definitely would be a big pickup for them. Javon Hargrave, I still think he still has a little bit left in the tank for a team that's DT.
With Minnesota today.
Oh, he did just sign. You're right. Oh my God, that's right. He did sign with Minnesota. Yeah, and I was just about to say for the D lineman, Jonathan Allen also going to Minnesota too. Yeah, for all these D linemen, I was under the impression that they're gonna get kind of discounted contracts due to it being a heavy D line draft class this year.
Oh.
Man, was I wrong? Apparently, these teams are just like, screw the rookies. We're going all in for this veteran talent. And
blame the Eagles.
Mainly Eagles. Yep.
How well they got pressure in the interior, so that everybody's copycatting that.
100%. So yeah, they saw what happened in the Super Bowl, and they're like, yeah, we need some of that.
We need that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you see Chase Young getting a big bag. There's just
Milton.
Milton got the huge bag. Yeah, and with New England, yeah. So there's just a lot of money getting thrown around to these D linemen, and frankly, I'm shocked. I really did think it was going to be a watered down market for them, but yeah, they are as prevalent as ever. So very
hold my beer.
Yeah, hold my beer. Yeah, exactly. So still a lot of guys, a lot of talent left out there. I know I kind of went on a little bit of a tirade for this front office and the lack of moves made so far, but there are definitely still moves to be made out there. Can make some team friendly contracts to some of these guys. The flip side to, there is a price set for a lot of these positions, but the flip side of that is these guys haven't been signed yet for reasons. So, there are ways to work around that. So Chargers got some money. I definitely would like to see at least one or two guys from this list signed. Najee over there at 47 obviously has come over, and we did re-sign Mac. But not Asante, barring re-signs, I do want to see 2 new guys from this list at least make their way over, because pretty much at every position here available is a need minus Justin Reed at safety, and he's already taken. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I'd be happy with any of these guys.
Okay. All right. So moving over to 51 through 101. So Alex, who these guys? Because there's some guys that have signed on this list that are highlighted, but there's a lot of names here. So, give me your feedback on who's signed so far. What do you like, and who you might think some of these big time names might end up in the next few days?
Yeah, and so just kind of quickly looking at this list here, let me swindle it. I'm just kidding. But we obviously, announced Bosa signing to Buffalo. He's 57. Looking over at the other side, D Hop signed with Baltimore, Gainwell with Pittsburgh. So there's a few, but I think for the most part, everyone else that's still available is just that still available, except for Jawan Johnson. He signed somewhere, correct?
He re-signed with the Saints.
Yeah, yep.
Mhm.
And Daniel Jones, which was another shocking signing.
That is a shocker for the
me.
Colts.
Bosa
they
too,
gave
he just signed.
They gave Daniel Jones $13.3 guaranteed $1 million to just be Daniel Jones in Indy.
Right.
Jeez. But yeah, looking at the signings, like I would say there's not any that are like overly, really big shot, like potential team changing moves, if you will. I think Spillane is a good signing for New England, especially like I love seeing that he's out of the Raiders now. So now Raiders fans can stop talking about him.
Oh, I know.
But dude is a tackling machine. Like, you got to give him credit where credit's due. And I think that's a good signing for Vrabel and, a New England team that's probably trying to establish a new culture and build things back the right way. I think Spillane's the type of guy that can bring you that on the defensive side of the ball. I really like the Thrashawn Wharton signing by Carolina. Maybe a little bit of a homer like for me because he is from the Chiefs. But homegrown talent from the Chiefs. Played at a pretty crappy D2 here in Missouri and worked his way up. So shout out to him for getting $50 million. Would have really liked to see him come back because he is a passing down specialist in the interior. But like I said in our chat, not for 50 mil.
Yeah,
So
no.
but he can provide that presence. Like he was, I think, third or second on the team in sacks this year. He has put his stamp on plenty of games for the Chiefs. Curious to see how that transitions to not having the benefit of playing next to Chris Jones. But he's been a productive defensive tackle in the NFL, especially in rushing the passer. So I think those are the two biggest signings. And is it coincidental that they're closer to the number one of the top 100? Probably not. But anyways, looking at the rest of them, there's certainly some big names, that I think used to carry some big star power, but can still contribute and would be interesting to see where they go. I know I talked about Mekhi Becton earlier. He's probably the most sought after guard at this point. Still being relatively young, kind of that washout left tackle, former first round left tackle turned Super Bowl champion guard. But I am a little intrigued as to why he's still unsigned. I think part of it's, probably his asking price is incredibly high, and teams are trying to say, well, you played half a season, chill out. But huge. He's six. What he's he's 6'8", 360, just an absolute unit.
Yeah.
I think could certainly provide some stability on the inside of the line, especially if you get him. I think in the right, the right mix in the right O-line room, if you will. But that's one I'm really intrigued to see where he goes. I'm also kind of curious to see what happens with Charles Omenihu, and that again, it might be a little bit of my Chiefs fandom coming out, but like I told you guys, they offered Omenihu, I think the identical contract he had, 2 years. I don't remember what, 2 years, 40 mil, something like that. And he basically told him to kick rocks. and he said, he told him to, what I say, get bent, and then tweeted, how excited he is to be a true free agent, and he's still out there. So, also intriguing to see, where he ends up, because I think he was a little unlucky with injuries, but can provide you a good edge rush presence. And I'm very interested to see what the final price tag is for him. Just the longer that he waits out there. And then the other one on this other side of the slide here, I think I have to go with Justin Simmons, because I think he's still a decently viable safety in the NFL. He's certainly
good year with Falcons last year.
Yeah, and he can always bring you. I mean, for better or worse, as our counterpart Richie would probably complain about it numerous times. He can certainly bring you that big play flash in a game, to a point that it's sometimes to his detriment of trying to go for the big play. But I think still a serviceable safety, and definitely on the twilight end of his career. So I think you can get him for a nice team friendly deal and know that you're getting a natural ball hawking safety to add to your lineup. I mean, not a bad thing to bring into the mix. Even if I'm Kansas City, I might even think about doing something like that, especially with losing, Reed. But I think he has
crazy. You come back to the division like that, but we'll go ahead though.
Yeah, against Mahomes, who's he's the all-time leader of picking Mahomes off. So I'd be cool. I'd be for it.
It is shocking to me that Jimmy G is above basically everybody in front of behind him on this free agent.
I think this thing's just valuing QBs though.
No, that's what it
as
blows
we've
my
seen
mind.
with Daniel Jones, there's value in having in-game experience. Everyone wants a backup that they know has played, whether that was really, really bad or decently mediocre. You're gonna get some money.
Chubb 1-on-1. I mean, that's just crazy to me. How does Kenneth Gainwell better than Nick Chubb?
Honestly, it has to be the injury. It has to be the injury to Nick Chubb. There's no way. I would not be putting Jedrick Wills over Nick Chubb. I'm sorry, it's just not happening.
No,
not at all. Not at
Probably
all.
just the age. I mean, Dobbins too. I'm curious to see where Dobbins goes, if it's back to LA or
I don't think so anymore.
I wouldn't think so either by them signing Najee, but I would have also thought if there wasn't at least a chance that he come back, he would have been signed by now, because he's right. I mean, he definitely showed flashes.
We're also apparently not paying or rewarding guys off the 1-year contract, so sure we'll see him sign.
And running backs always. I mean, regardless of what value climbs in other positions, running backs always going to be the most devalued one, and the one that I feel teams just kind of sweat out running backs and let them be like, hey, well, we'll just draft a guy in the 7th round and give him 200 carries. Have fun on your couch. Yeah. Or you can take this $7 million and shut your mouth.
I think it's also due to the fact that it's such a, we were talking about D-line heavy draft. It is an insanely running back heavy draft. Forget the fact that teams are already.
It's a bad time to be a free agent.
It's exactly.
Yeah, I mean, unless your name is, Saquon Barkley.
I mean, you got literally for sure 2, maybe 3 first round grade RBs.
Yeah.
When the narrative for a long time has been you never take a running back in the 1st round. Now they're projecting 3. So yeah.
And now everybody wants to use the argument for that for Genty. It's we never take running backs in the 1st round. Well, yeah, look at all these running backs that are taken in the 1st round. It's those were all 20 years ago. I saw somebody put LT on there.
Right, we're still not that far removed from Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs. You see how that works out.
Yeah.
Well, Gibbs was 12, so that one's a little bit more all right. I could understand that.
I think before them being drafted, the last 1st round running back was Zeke.
Wow.
Oh,
he was be speaking.
2?
I mean,
or no? What he was?
He was up there,
top 5.
Top 5. Yeah.
Top 5.
I think traded up to get him.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna cherry pick a few names before we move on to the next segment. But I got my eye on Jedrick Wills. I'm just baffled by the fact that he's 95 on this list. Number 1, and 2, he's still out there. I mean, anybody looking for a tackle, and we talking about a former 1st round tackle that's still out there on the market. Which I don't know why the Browns didn't resign him, but they got the money. But that's a whole nother conversation. But I don't get that. But and D Hop going to the Ravens just now. That was today. That's a good one. Elijah Moore, a good slot receiver that the people are very young as well, speedy, really good route runner. He's available out there. Like I said, what we gonna do with JK? Where he lands. I'm more interested about that. Where does Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers go? If I was the Steelers, I would bring back Russell Wilson and pair him up with DK before I do Aaron Rodgers, but that's a whole other conversation. Just some quick hits there. But like you said, Tevin Jenkins, I'm curious where he lands. Still looking at Josh Myers as center. I think he's a really good Packers center that they let walk in free agency. I'm surprised that he hadn't signed. That's a good one as well. And Keenan Allen, I forgot about Keenan Allen on the last list.
Yeah.
Hopefully we bring him back. Hopefully they didn't burn the bridge by trading him, and he's not in his feelings and don't want to deal with this new regime, and maybe he comes back to LA for a swan song. But that's what I'm looking at as far as who is left out there that could sign here shortly. And one final one, Azeez Ojulari, who's a very speedy edge.
Yeah,
I would love to
and
charge
24.
Well.
I mean, he's young, man. Like
exactly.
Josh Myers got signed, right?
Oh, you did not.
No,
he did not.
There.
Okay.
Well, you guys signed Bozeman, so
yeah, but we signed him like the cheapest. Like
his contract is friendly as well.
Yeah, we can get out from under him the following season, like Coach said.
Yeah, I'd sign Josh Myers or my cousin, dude. I'll text him.
Yeah, tell him we need a guard.
Hey,
does he like LA?
Hey, I'll be like, first, how do you like your agent? If not,
exactly.
Let me take the reins. Ortiz.
Indeed. Okay. All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about trades real quick. There's a few trades out there or rumored that people could get traded in the next few days, potentially. There's 4 guys that have on the list to get y'all quick takes on who you think may get traded and where. So we got Trey Hendrickson, who was given permission to seek a trade. He from the Bengals. We got Dallas Goedert, who's been rumored to be dealt from Philly potentially. Cooper Kupp will be released tomorrow if he's not traded by tonight. I think that's the rumor. And Brandon Ayuk's name is in the wind as well. We talk about this 49ers tear down, and that could be even further mode of tear down if they trade Ayuk after paying him last season, which he played about 3 or 4 games and ended up getting injured. So, I guess you guys we can go. I give you guys 2 apiece. Regardless who you feel like they may land. Let's start with Robert. Tell me about Hendrickson and Kupp. What do you think happens to them in regards to what their future holds?
Yeah, so I think this whole Bengals situation is just such a cluster bleep. Man, if you want to give a report card for what teams have been doing this year, there's no team more worthy of an F than the Bengals. They have just made every wrong choice at almost every turn this offseason. The fact that we're even on here right now with Trey being on the trade block is just insane to me, but whatever. That's a whole other topic. We got Coach in here. Yeah.
Coach Mike Douglas in the building.
I made it. What's going on, fellas?
Good.
But yeah, so just I think Trey, man, it's tough just because now that day one of free agency is over, there are so many slots that have been filled now, so it's like the value is severely, I feel, plummeted for Trey, and I feel like that's why the Bengals honestly haven't dealt him yet. It's because they're still waiting to see how much they can get for him, and it's going down every day. But I could 100% see him going to the Chargers. I could see him going to the Eagles. Eagles losing both Sweat and Williams. I could definitely see them trying to make a play for him. He's gonna go somewhere unless he strictly values the money and he just wants to get paid, in which case, I can't do much about that. He's just going to go to the highest bidder or, whoever can afford it. But if he does want to win and his main goal is winning, then I can definitely see him going to, the Eagles, Chargers, a contender, somebody that was in the postseason last year, that you can say is one piece away. I don't think the Chargers are necessarily one piece away, but he is somebody that you can just completely build that D line around. He's young enough. Definitely good enough. I mean, he's been the sack leader, the last 2 years or something like that. So
last year.
Oh, it's just last year. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, you can't, if that kind of talent is available, you make the trade for it. So I expect to see a trade for him very soon. As far as Cooper Kupp, like you mentioned, I don't see him getting traded. They're just going to flat out release him. They have been talking about wanting to trade him for like the last month, it seems, and nothing has materialized from it. So I expect him to get released. And not to try to be a homer, but I truly do think like
Pick up the phone.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like not even pick up the phone, but like it makes so much sense. You don't have to move. You're playing in the same exact stadium. Walk across the street. Yep. Like, hey, the Chargers building is a quick 2-minute Uber ride away. So just pull up real quick. Like, hey, you guys looking? Like, I'm already here.
Right.
Realistically, though, I mean, he can like Cooper Kupp is such a weird player. He went from Triple Crown, you know, top of the league, like best receiver, you know, arguments for best receiver. And I mean, now we're here. And it's almost like, yeah, he'll be lucky to be wide receiver 3 on a team. It's like just the decline of Cooper Kupp has been really kind of sad to see. But I still think he's got some juice in him. I still think he can definitely contribute to whichever team he goes to. It's not going to be his number 1 or certainly number 2 option anymore. I think wide receiver 3 is kind of right in his wheelhouse now for where he's at in his career.
Yeah, I think a 2 or 3 role would be sufficient for him, depending on where he lands. But yeah, like I said, he can walk across the street and join the Chargers. But I'm just concerned that he can play outside, but he's the most effective in the slot, and I don't want that to affect Ladd's development. So that's the only thing that kind of bothers me about it. But I think we need a true outside receiver to go with what we have. But yeah, I wouldn't be mad if we did get him though. I mean, do something. My God.
That is fact.
I mean, do something.
Right. All right. So let's put up the next 2. Let's let AG do Dallas Goedert, and we'll let Mike Dub do Brandon Ayuk.
Gave him the fun one
because you wanted him to go to KC, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm gonna say that for everyone. I mean, come on. Until it happens, it's all rumors and speculation, right? But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, kind of. I guess not totally unexpected, but crazy nonetheless. In that there's these rumors swirling with Goddard after they just won the Super Bowl, and it's like, damn. But you know, I could see them moving on because they have that Calcaterra. You know, they've already. I think Goddard's on the later years of his big extension, and you know, he's had certainly a lot of injury concerns these past couple of years, especially last year. But I mean, when he's healthy, he's still certainly, you know, top 10 tight end in the NFL, I'd say. So, you know, I think with this being certainly a top heavy tight end draft, like, you know, you don't have your generational Brock Bowers, but you still got, you know, Loveland. I mean, maybe, yeah.
Kind of look.
I mean, yeah, I'm a big Warren guy, but you know, there's really only, I think, 2 that are ones that you could be comfortable with taking as a team and saying that's our tight end day 1.
True.
Where there's, you know, I think I could think of at least 4 or 5 teams that, you know, certainly need a tight end. So I think if it's truly, if it's true, yeah, yours being one of them, Robert. Yeah. Ortiz, pick up the phone, you know. Exactly. But you know, if it truly is apparent that they're moving on, I could see your Chargers, you know, make a move for someone like him. Denver, even, you know, the Colts, Jaguars.
Don't speak past the Colts one, because I want to point out a thing about the Colts. Shane Steichen is the head coach there, who coached him in Philly.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. You know, New Orleans, you know, with Kellen Moore, he could go back to his you know, OC. Jacksonville just got rid of Ingram, so you never know. And you know, New York Giants, if they are going rookie QB, like they could be looking to add, you know.
Yeah, I don't think they see them in the division though. I don't think they do that.
Yeah. I don't know. Hey, they might be like, hey, you gave us Saquon. Here you go. We'll give you Dallas. Thanks for Saquon.
Right. And the Super Bowl ring. Right. Yeah.
Dallas will show you what his ring looks like.
You'll never see it yourself. So hey, those be good. Understandable.
But yeah.
Okay. All right, Mike Dub. Welcome to the show, good brother. Appreciate you joining us. And tell us about Brandon Ayuk. If he get dealt, where do you think he goes?
Well, for me, the first thing is a big if, because if he gets dealt, to me, that's the 49ers throwing all their cards in. I already feel like they're.
We already discussed that. We saying it's a rebuild.
They've been folded.
Yeah, like they didn't try to mask it or anything.
Taking the ones out of the sleeves at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think like Ayuk, I mean, he wasn't happy there when they were winning, so he's not going to be happy in that locker room now. So they're going to have to get him out of there. That being said, I've heard the Panthers be mentioned. I I mean, I think that's a team that could definitely make a move for him. I think from a different mindset. Like I think from a mindset of a team, if I'm gonna bring a guy there, I want a guy that's going to want to be here. Meaning that I want a guy that's, if you're bringing him into the Panthers, he's going to have to be patient. I'm not sure if Brandon Ayuk is going to be able to come into the Panther locker room and be patient.
True.
Now they did turn the corner a little bit towards the end of the year.
They did.
Bryce Young looks like he finally found his stride. So maybe he'll come around. But I think that a team like New England, with a nice quarterback, they seem to have a little bit more direction now with what they're going. Even though last year was kind of crazy and their offseason move was kind of crazy. But I've heard the Bills as well. Clearly, I think if it's up to Ayuk, I think he will probably want to go to the Bills. I like the fit. However, it's just I don't know if the Bills are going to be willing to make that move. I don't know what capital they have to make that move, but I think that's probably the best fit for Ayuk and the best fit for where he'll probably be happiest and where he'll probably get the most production. I even thought about a team like Vegas because I mean, who's Vegas's receivers right now?
Good
Like, I
point.
don't know.
Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
Is that they definitely need a guy who could be their number one. And I think Ayuk can definitely be that number one. So, clearly they'll probably, look and see what they're going to do in the draft, maybe. But I would say probably the Bills or maybe the Patriots, but I can see him making a move to the AFC East.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and I think coming off the ACL injury is going to lower his price as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that they can probably get away with getting him a third or fourth
And they
round.
just signed him, right?
Right.
Like,
He already got
last
a team in
year.
place, so they're gonna have to eat that money in that deal. So they're gonna be like, well, just give me a third rounder and y'all can have him. And just pay the line share of his money, then we'll call it even. So it could be it. I'm not mad at that idea as well.
Yeah. Now it depends on who has the picks and who has the capital. You know what I mean? Like I said, I don't know where. I'm pretty sure I don't know what Carolina looks like with their draft picks. They might be all right. So ultimately, it's a trade. So it's not going to be up to him where he ends up going.
That's true.
But so it all comes down to who has the capital for it. But I think those teams would all be good fits.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. All right. So let's round out the show, man. Let's do a quick hitter. Let's talk about wish lists. So when we talk about the NFL in our teams, we have Commanders insider here, 2 Chargers insiders, we have a Chiefs insider here. So, gentlemen, if you had to, based upon who's available left, if you had to pick 1 to 2 guys that you would absolutely positively want to have if you had your pick, who would those guys be and why? Let's start with Mike Dub since he's fresh off the coming into the pod.
That's tough. It's been a lot of moving going on right now, so I don't even know. Now, you counting free agency or trading? Just free agency?
Either.
Ooh.
I mean, genie in a bottle. Genie in a bottle. I get 1 or 2 guys that I absolutely positively would love to have right now. Who's on my list?
DZ. I feel you, DZ. That's me, brother.
That's tough. I lost both my safeties that I wanted. Or my safety that I wanted. I wanted Holland. Obviously, he went to the Giants. Don't know why he wanted to go there. But either way, that money talks. That's it.
Money talk.
Yeah, money talks. I think the second thing I will want is a pass rusher, so I'll probably have to go Hendrickson.
Okay. So Hendrickson. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that
Alex,
it?
you go.
That it?
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, for now.
I mean, you're doing pretty well. You got Debo, you got Sun Tzu, you got all your picks still, all your high picks, so you're doing pretty good for yourself.
I'm not mad. If this is it, I'm not
get
mad.
a wish list going when you already got everything for Christmas. Shit.
Right. That part.
If this is it, I'm not mad. Maybe we can, sneak the kid from South Carolina as a safety in the draft. Then that would.
Oh, you talking about Imwari? Oh,
yeah.
Lord. Oh, Lord.
No.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, I ain't in that division.
Yeah, that would be amazing. But I mean, I'm happy with our move so far, but I'm looking for some more help on the defense just to solidify us. If not a safety, then a pass rusher. So I'll say Hendrickson for now.
Okay. Alex, who you got on your list for the Chiefs?
Yeah, so I mean, I think already addressed the biggest needs of the offseason. Signing the left tackle, signing Elijah Mitchell into the running back room. I mean, he has his own injury concerns, but I think that's a good signing nonetheless. And re-sign the important pending free agents in Trey Smith and Nick Bolton, let Justin Reed walk. So there is certainly still a hole at safety, but like Mike Dub just said, pretty much all the good ones are gone at this point. And they've kind of that's the one I'm curious to see what happens, because they've spent some young picks. Chamari Connor, who is one of Coach's boys, Jaden Hicks this last year, Brian Cook. So I wonder if they're going to let kind of the young bulls come in, the young Cavs come in, and let Justin Reed go. So outside of that, I think the two biggest positions are needs, and I don't think they make any trades really, because at this point, who's going to trade with the Chiefs to overly help them? So I think the Hendricksons and those types of moves are just not feasible, both from a cap situation and just who they are. So looking at free agents, I think they need to still add to the wide receiver room, because right now you just have Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, if back fully healthy and not suspended, and Worthy, who is free, in case anyone forgot about that, end of the story. They never report when the charges aren't filed, just that they might be, but they definitely need to still, I think, bring in a veteran presence to that room. That's a younger, inexperienced room. So I think my dream signing would be Stephon Diggs. Okay. On some type of 1-year prove-it deal coming off of the ACL injury, perfect time frame of him probably still wanting to try to get one final bag, but not really having the 2024 tape to put up with that. So, I think he needs to kind of do what he did in going from Minnesota to Buffalo and just latch on with a good QB and show teams, hey, I still got a few years left in me. And I think that's the perfect situation for KC to get what they need out of him with that. So, I think Diggs or Amari Cooper, one of those two, like a veteran that if the market stales out, you can get on a pretty good, pretty cheap deal. And then, they need to definitely add to the edge rush room, or just the D line in general. Because right now they literally have Chris Jones, Mike Dana, George Karlaftis, and Felix and DK Uzoma. And I know at least one or two of those guys, you guys are like, who the hell are they? So, that's some issues. They got to add to that. I think ideally, like realistically, they probably add one of these veteran presence, veteran edge rushers out there, like, like your Matt Judons, Darius Smith, one of those types of guys that I think still has a little bit of juice, but it's not going to have to be, quote, the guy. But other than that, I think it's Azeez Ojulari, who is like a primo Veach guy, former first-round pick, has all the tangibles, is still relatively young, but hasn't really put it all together. Like, that's the type of guy that Veach would gladly give, hey, here's 2 years, 24 mil. Show us what you got. But I think those are, edge and just adding to the receiver room are the two remaining needs for the Chiefs.
Okay. Robert, who you got for the Chargers?
My answer is D, above all. So every single free agent that is available,
sign them all.
Sign them all. Get every single one.
Go to settings, shut salary cap off, and just go.
1-year deals galore. Yep.
Yeah,
realistically, though, I mean, trade wise, this is really going to be the only thing that kind of makes this all okay. Is if we have some just, I mentioned this at the start of the show too, if we have some just insane trade that we've been working on behind the scenes and we're just doing the best job at keeping, shut about it, cool. All more power to the front office, and I will take my place as a fan and never question it again.
Right.
But seeing as that's probably not the case, I would definitely want us to go after based on who's left, like Alex said. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, it's pretty much. But like Alex said, I mean, Amari Cooper or Stephon Diggs, either one of those guys would be just an instant impact signing for us. Outside wide receiver, need somebody who can consistently play outside. Since you have Ladd in the slot, he can play outside too. So, like, just having that constant X on the outside is something that we desperately need. Um, I want us to address this D-line situation, this edge room in particular. I think Josh Uche is somebody who pass
Former
rushing
Chief.
specialist, former Chief. I think bringing him in on a cheap contract just to get some bodies in that edge room, man. I feel like we're just barren right now. I think all we have is Khalil Mack and Thule, if I'm not mistaken. I'm
And
not really.
Bud Dupree.
And Bud Dupree. Okay, yeah. So we got Bud as well. I mean, Bud and Khalil are two incredibly aged vets, and Thule is he's shown flashes, but nothing consistent yet. So we definitely need to shore up that room. That has to be, and then I mean, do I even need to get into the interior O line anymore?
I mean, beat a dead horse if you want.
Beating a dead, as that horse has been dead all season long, and we're still beating it, man. It's rough. But yeah, I was really not kidding when I said anybody. We dude, bring in any guards, centers.
Yeah.
Can we do something to help Herbert, man?
Yeah, I'm of the elk that I just want some solid moves done. I mean, it's not necessarily a wish list, or just a matter of just some things that make sense. Like I said,
yes,
Josh Myers is still out there. The Packers. If people don't really appreciate this aspect of it, the Packers develop talent really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
We got Corey Linsley, from the Packers a few years ago, was a great signing for us, and Josh Myers was his replacement, who came in and made the Pro Bowl as well. So I'm very shocked that they even let him walk from the Packers perspective. But again, a guy that you can bring in and they can place in a solidified position for you. That's one thing. Just starting from the trenches perspective. And on the flip side of that, like you said, another D tackle, somebody that's going to be able to, help out with, just being able to give Tierra Tart the other, kind of Batman and Robin situation with stopping the run. You got your edge guys, quote unquote, with Sully and Khalil. But I do believe that you need to get more stout up front. I do understand you got Otito Ojinobi and a few other guys that you're developing, but you need a face there that's going to be able to come in day one and be like, okay, we gotta account for this guy, that kind of thing. Because Jonathan Allen's and Hargraves and those guys have gone already. So the next tier of that needs to be had as well. Again, you can't fix everything in a draft, so some things just need to be addressed. At least, even if it's on a 1-year deal. Maybe the people are playing hardball. They're just saying that they don't want 1-year deals and they don't want to come in for a short period of time. They want long-term deals, and that's the holding point why the Chargers can't sign anybody right now. But again, we're not in the rooms. But something of that ilk. And now again, and I'm definitely for bringing King Allen back from the Bears. Definitely want to see him back in the fold if possible. We need an outside receiver that can get open. Like I said, Robert brought up the point earlier about separation being a big problem for our receiving room last year and being able to beat man coverage. And Ken Allen is, the prototypical person to do that. And again, very familiar with the organization. Everybody knows him. Has been in the locker room for more than a couple of years. So I think it's an easy and slam dunk move. Assuming he's not sour with the regime, because they traded him last season. But yeah. That, and again, I brought up Azeez Ojulari again, getting faster off the edge. Having Khalil Mack as a good run stopper and a good power rusher is one thing, but you need a guy that can get after the quarterback from a speed perspective, because again, you got Mahomes, Knicks, Geno all in the division. You got Lamar, Josh up north. You got CJ Stroud. Any of these guys that can move around a little bit are going to give you fits. We do well against pocket quarterbacks, but the moment we play Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts, somebody of that nature, they give us problems because we can't keep up with them from a pass perspective because they can outrun our guys.
And so we play the NFC East this year, so we're playing Jalen, we're playing Jaden,
it could be playing whoever gets the Giants job, from a quarterback perspective. That's another thing. So again, something that needs to be addressed from that perspective, getting faster and more dynamic from the edge perspective. So that's my thing. I just solid moves. I don't even have a wish. I just want solid moves.
My wish is solid moves. That's my wish.
I'm a simple guy. I'm not asking for much. I'm a simple guy. So if they do that, then I'll be happy with what they've done. And that'll put us in a good position to get into the draft and get some young guys in the fold. Because I do think we'll have a good draft. Because again, Harbaugh's only 1 year removed from college, so I think that him knowing what's the ins and outs of these college prospects would benefit us. But again, you can't do everything through the draft. You got to build through free agency as well. So we'll see how that shakes. But yeah, that's my takes. So hopefully that thing, they will work out in the next few days, and we'll see what the second wave brings.
Yeah, I think I saw a Twitter post. Let me give credit to, because I did end up bookmarking it, and it was a lot of what this guy was saying is it kind of took me back a little bit, made me kind of open up my eyes on what the Chargers are doing. So his name is James Williamson, James82475 on X. Basically just sum it up saying that free agency isn't officially began until tomorrow, Wednesday at 12 PST Eastern time. So, you know, a lot of us, Chargers included, a lot of teams are holding out before a lot of these players are officially released. Like you mentioned, Cooper Kupp is one of them. So, you know, when the signing period officially starts. And this is what the front office that we have does. We've seen it in Baltimore, where they don't splurge on big money, big name, especially wide receivers. They build through the draft. They build internally. They get, you know, these 1 year, 2 year deals, these cheaper, shorter term deals, and then, you know, try to reward those players if they exceed. We're kind of lacking in that aspect of it, but, you know, the same principle of, you know, signing these kind of low risk, high upside players, and you know, not committing hundreds of millions of dollars to 4 or 5 year deals to guys that are going to flame out, a la JC Jackson. And, you know, I can get into a lot more, but I'll stop just with that.
That was a crash out.
Yeah, that was a flame burn crash, and just, yeah, that was all kinds of wrong. So I will take all this with a grain of salt. You know, this is a new regime. This is a new outlook, a new way of doing things in the offseason that Chargers fans are certainly not used to. So I will bide my time before I completely unleash and just go nuclear on this front office and coaching staff. So I will say, let's be a little patient. I know I myself kind of went on here and was not, but Minter will get you paid. Exactly. Come on down, man. Sign a bunch of 1 year deals. And yeah, I do really want to see, if we are going to address one position group, however, it's got to be interior O-line. Got to protect Herbert. That has to be priority number one.
I definitely agree. Okay. All right. Well, that is going to wrap our show for the day. If you're looking for these gentlemen online, and here's their social media information. Mike Dub, The Real AG, and Robert are all on X, and 2 or more on Instagram as well. So if you're looking for them in between shows, you want to get some insight on their teams and specifically, please hit them up and with your questions or concerns, or just want to, you know, yell at them for their takes. So that they're there for that as well.
Welcome yelling. Come on.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Nothing more I want to do in my day than argue in all caps with someone.
There you go.
Come on.
There you go. And if we're looking for the network's information, here it is. We're on all major platforms, social medias wise, and on email as well. So hit us up if you have any questions about the network, or just want, again, to yell at the coach. So we can get to that as well. But as always, man, we appreciate everybody that's been listening and coming through for the show and supporting the show through this time. And like we said, we're going to be dropping content all week. We are doing a Twitter Spaces for those listening on Twitter. We're doing a Twitter Spaces on Thursday night at 9 p.m. We are going to be answering questions. We're going to be doing more deep dives on the free agency and getting deeper into more topics that we aren't covering today. So check us out on Twitter at Lockdown Defense, on X or Twitter, however you want to call it. And we'll be doing that at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. So we'll be live and direct there. So you can join us then, and we'll be taking questions from the group on top of the topics that we have covered for that day. So check us out there. And as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not done so, to catch all our videos. And until then, that is the Real AG. That is the Young RG. That is Coach Mike Dub. And I'm Coach Defense. The Hit Squad is here. And the NFL offseason blitz is out of here. Peace.